The Spanish announce table.
Tom.
Tim.
How are you?
I am riding high on the adrenaline and fantastic night we both had last night.
Yeah,
as
on
of
our
this
mandate.
recording. Yeah, as of this recording, it is a Thursday night, November 8th, 2018, the year of pro wrestling and the new idea. But last night, me and you, as you just alluded to, went on a mandate, which
Yeah,
I don't know
did.
why we had to say man at first. We went on a date.
Yeah, we went on a date. We are
And
all
it
about
was-
equality. We
and
went
it
on a
was
date.
fantastic. First
Yeah.
off, I want to talk about, before we get into what we actually did beforehand,
Mhm.
we had dinner and I took you to Cordoba, which you never been to. And then I took you to Insomnia Cookies. Huh?
Yes.
How
Yes,
good
and
was
it was
Insomnia
great.
Cookies?
Oh, it was the best. Yeah, it was really
Describe
good.
to the people what you had.
It was a double chocolate chip cookie, right? So the chocolate cookie with the chocolate chips in it, then it's doubles. So two of those with a black cherry ice cream sandwiched in between for a sandwich, but you ate it with a fork because, it was gooey and delicious and great. Yeah, because we were at Qdoba. We'd finished eating. We were waiting. We had plenty of time to go where we were going to go for our date. And I was like, I'm going to grab a cookie. I see they have cookies on the menu. And you're like, yeah, let's grab a cookie for sure. You seemed really excited about it.
Because I was, yeah.
All right. And so I started walking up there, and you're like, whoa, what? No. You're like,
Not
stop it.
here.
Yeah, no, yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
Went 2 doors down, went to Insomnia Cookie, which for people in the Kansas City area, I think it is a chain restaurant or chain
Right.
store. So it might be available in your area in the United States, maybe internationally. But in Kansas City, they are available in a couple different locations, and they deliver up to 3 a.m. They deliver to you up to 3 a.m. You can get
wonder how
cookies and ice
far.
cream delivered
Yeah.
to your door.
I'm probably way outside the delivery window. Probably way.
Well, yeah, because you live in sticks. You need
Yeah.
to come to the city and you get all the fun stuff.
Yeah, hey, I like my privacy out here. I can park easily.
That is true. That was
Yeah.
a difficult thing. But so after I blew your mind with some amazing cookies and Mexican food, we went on our date to see. First off, we had a meet and greet. Second, we had a show.
Yes.
It was the Dirty Details tour from one WWE Hall of Famer, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Sans snake. There was no snake.
Well, he is Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, he's the snake. Right.
Right, yeah.
There was no snake.
But there was no snake. There were some goofballs, though. Let's just talk about this first thing right off the jump.
Yeah.
As Jake the Snake is getting into one of his stories, and we're not going to divulge too many details on the stories because if he comes to your town, we hope that you go see him, right? Because it's a
Right.
great time. However, at our show, right as Jake the Snake is getting into like the meat of a really funny story, some dork who's never stood up before in his life locks his legs and passes out.
Rookie mistake. You've never
What
been to a
an
bar for like a
Yeah.
concert or anything, have you, huh?
Yeah, I guess
Nothing.
not. And what a dork. You had to be escorted out. You couldn't even be a part of the Q&A because you didn't know how to stand.
I feel like that's drilled into our heads from like age 4 in school,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Don't lock
we
your knees.
used
Don't
to-
lock your knees. You're going to pass out. And then, it's never happened. So you're like, whatever.
Yeah, and then it did to this guy. Well, you're taught that because remember when you're in elementary school and you have to do like not musicals, but concerts, like you have to sing in the thing. Everyone had to do
Yeah,
that, at least where I'm from.
right.
And so they taught you there, like, we don't want you falling off these high risers, so bend your knees a little bit. Like, I knew that at the age of 7. And this dork. So let me back up for the people who weren't there. It was at the Riot Room here in Westport, and it was a standing room only. So they didn't have chairs, and that's what we were alluding to. So we were all
Right.
standing as Jake the Snake, who also stood as well. It wasn't
Right.
as if he was in this comfortable chair, just, enjoying the relaxation of talking and, just bullshitting. He was up there. He was performing.
Right.
I mean, he was sharing good stories, but, he was up there. So we were all standing around in a small intimate area while he was sharing stories about Andre the Giant, Ric Flair, Rick Rude, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Harley Race. I mean, we asked him everything, and it was a good time. But what was your standout moment from that night? It was about an hour and a half that we were there, maybe 2 hours. What stands out in your mind?
I think hearing the stories of like him getting into the business, right? Because we know of Jake the Snake of being one of the most charismatic, game-changing personalities of wrestling. And there was a time when he knew nothing and was like, I guess I'm not cut out for this, right? Like these guys are, you know what I mean? I'm not taking to this. Nobody likes me. So I think some of that was fun, all those kind of stories.
Yeah, he even shared a story of how he was fired in the Kansas City territory of Central States Wrestling. And, you know, that's where we are. So he even shared about how he was fired from being a wrestler in this town. So that was interesting. For me, the thing that stood out to me is he seemed healthy and at peace. Like you could tell there was still a little bit of him of like, man, those party days were fun. Sure wish I could do it.
Some
but
of
now
these
he
guys
has
got something. I know it, right? Yeah,
right.
Like he's got that going, right?
Yeah, but he has this piece about him where, you know, he might have that itch to like, man, this is the riot room. You know, let's have a fucking riot. But he knows the slippery slope now, as many times as he's fell down, that he seemed, at least to me, that he was at peace with where he was. It wasn't as if he felt like he was missing out. And obviously, you know, we all struggle with something, but at least to me, from everything that we've seen in documentaries and his own personal accounts and podcast interviews and DDP yoga and yada, 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 you know, all of that to me always made me feel like he had something that was still getting at him. And last night he just seemed like, hey man, I'm good with who I am now. At this age, I can be Jake Roberts, you know? And so he was really fun. He did a lot better as far as performance. I mean, not to say that he was, you know, a dancing monkey up there and we were telling him, you know, keep dancing, but he knew how to tell stories. He had inflection. He had ups and downs. It was a beginning, middle, and end. So I was impressed by that because, you know, sometimes pro wrestlers just kind of go all over the place, Ric Flair. And so you never can keep up. But Jake the Snake did a very good job of like, hey, I can tell you this story. It started here. Here's the, you know, issue that was in this story. And then there's the end. And
he had like surprising detail recall given some of the nature of his battles. And so that was interesting too. And then, yeah, he gives a couple sly little hints at some things that he really thinks without really selling somebody out. You know, there was some fun stuff like that. Yeah. Really a fun show. I definitely recommend it for sure.
Yeah, and he was very transparent, even though, he didn't go like, you know who fucking sucks, this guy, this guy, this guy, you know who's fucking awesome, this guy, this guy, this guy.
Yeah, he didn't Jim Cornette it.
Right, he didn't Jim Cornette it to where you're like, good God. But he also, during the Q&A, when we were like, who was your favorite match? He didn't necessarily shy away and go like, everyone, it was this guy and this guy. He had a short list. So I thought
we should have
good.
During the Q&A just done our Cinco Preguntas, you know. Like,
I really thought about
theoretically, this guy right here, right?
Yeah, but
it's more of a hypothetical.
I wanted to ask more questions, but the dorks around us, man, just, hey, I was from Texas too. I love the Von Erichs. Cool. How many people are from Texas?
He asked a Von Erich question when nobody else cared in that room about the Von Erichs.
Yeah, and then he was just like, I'm from Texas. We're shitting on people that you guys don't know. But anyhow, it was annoying to us. Here's another thing that stands out to me. And it's inspired me to go after this person as a guest for our show. So one of the questions to Jake the Snake Roberts was, who was your favorite match, kind of match / storyline?
Right.
And he gave us a short list. And on that short list was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, which he said he wrestled 91 consecutive days, which is incredible. Right.
I remember him saying that. I was like, good Lord, 91 days
he said
straight.
Twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday. So you know, do the math on that.
And Steamboat can go. He didn't take time off. You know what I mean? Like he was going.
And here's the thing that stands out to me. So Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, for as long as we've been doing this show, he gets some good consideration when we do our 5 questions with all of our guests, right? They've always kind of said, like favorite match, and they'll say like Steamboat Savage, or Steamboat Flair. Here's the thing that's incredible to me is he doesn't, I feel like, get recognized as the top 10 greatest from a fan's perspective, from your perspective, from my perspective, from, our collective Spanish Announce Table fans. I wouldn't say that anyone's putting him in their top 5. But when you start talking to the wrestlers of that era, Ric Flair says his greatest opponent was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Right.
Last night, Jake the Snake Roberts said that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat was on the short list of his greatest opponents. One of the greatest WrestleMania matches of all time was Macho Man versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. It made me, as I was kind of reflecting on the show last night, getting prepared for tonight, that came to my mind, and I was like, is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat the most underrated pro wrestler of all time? We had mentioned that Juice and Thunder Liger has been on the PWI top 500 since it started, which is kind of an incredible feat,
Yeah.
But when you start talking to the wrestlers, a name that almost gets brought up from Hogan to Brooklyn Brawler is Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. But from our perspective, yeah, he does have the matches with Flair and Macho Man, but you don't hear about him in that, Hogan, Flair, Sting, Stone Cold, Rock club. But when you talk to those guys, I think you do. And that's why I was like, maybe he is. And tweet the table if you think. But I was gonna be bold enough on this episode to say that Ricky the Dragon Steamboat is the most underrated pro wrestler of all time. Underappreciated.
Yeah, I think where a lot of that comes from is a lot of those guys are talking about when they're working in the ring with someone, but he never really carried like this great promo feud or anything like that, right? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't know that was really... for me, yes, one of the greatest in-ring and one of the fittest guys, you know what I mean? And had chemistry with everybody, so it was like easy to plug and play. He was the Dolph Ziggler of the time for me, basically. Yeah?
Very. Yeah, right? That's a great analogy.
Everyone. Yep. Mm-hmm. We'll accept your tips, tableshow@gmail.com on the PayPal.
Yeah, because, just think about all of the fantastic feuds he has. So Macho Man, Flair, as we said, Jake the Snake taking the DDT, and then going over to WCW, his U.S. title feud with Stunning Steve Austin.
Yep.
And then hell, even going flash forward a few years, he had that incredible match as like the 5th participant against Jericho when Jericho did at WrestleMania 2025 Snuka and Piper and Steamboat versus him. And it was like, Piper and Snuka, let's get out of here. But goddamn, look at Steamboat. He's still going, and he's actually giving them a match.
He's out there, right? Yeah. Right.
That was a WrestleMania moment. And he did that at WrestleMania 25, and he also did it at WrestleMania 3. So, yeah, I just think it made me go, as I was reflecting on the Jake the Snake show. And we got to meet him. If you go to Instagram, tweet the table, you can see both of our pictures with them. We took individual pictures because we don't like taking pictures together, apparently. And he was a great guy, very nice.
I don't like my face to be associated with your face.
Yeah. Second that.
Yeah, this face over there. I don't like it.
This face right here is pretty great. And for those with the enhanced radio, you're seeing that we're pointing at ourselves.
That one.
Yeah, look at that. Cover your face with your hand. That is exactly what you should do. Yeah.
And then, maybe we can just...
So anyhow, go to our Instagram and Facebook, Spanish Announce Table. You can check out the photos there, but we got a quick meet and greet with him before, just said hi. There was a bunch of people in the place, so we didn't want to do the 5 questions and hold up the line. But he was very nice, very cordial. And like I said, it seemed very healthy and at peace, so I liked it a lot.
Highly recommend. Well, what else is new, man?
Not much. So I can't divulge the details, but I've got a huge weekend coming up. So I will share those details next
Secrets.
week on the podcast, but I cannot divulge those details right now for fear of who listens and might ruin surprises.
So you're getting a present for your mom.
I'm actually going to have lunch with my mom tomorrow. That has to deal with she is helping with one of the surprises for this weekend. But we've got
who else listens? My mom?
Everyone listens.
You doing something for my mom?
I've never met your mom.
Yeah, you haven't. I've never met your mom, I don't think.
Nope. Hey, but
that I'm
Monday
aware of.
Night Raw is coming to the Sprint Center, Kansas City, Missouri. And I am taking Emily's younger brother, who is my age, separated by a year, her and the younger brother. Same with me, Emily. But he actually kind of asked me. So he sent me a text and he said, "Hey, are you going to the wrestling show at Sprint Center?" And I was like, "Well, I don't have tickets." He goes, "Well, I was thinking about going and I was going to go with you if you were going to go." And then I wrote back, I go, "Do you want to go?" He was like, "Well, kinda." And I was like, "Well, then I'll fill you in on the details. I don't want you just sitting there with your thumb in your ass going like, what the fuck are all these guys and girls doing?" So I was like, "I'll be your guide."
Yeah.
And so we got tickets. And so this coming Monday, I will be going to the Monday Night Raw, the go-home show before Survivor Series, which isn't it crazy that Survivor Series is in 2 weeks?
It is. It's just these things are every 2 weeks now.
Well, and we can get into the third segment and foreshadowing. Second segment, we're going to recap Crown Jewel. Third segment, we'll give our thoughts of the week in wrestling. However, because of Survivor Series coming up so soon, it made me think, I don't know that these writers can write for 5 weeks. I think the reason now that we are doing Crown Jewel, Evolution, Fastlane, Survivor Series, Backlash, Breakdown, blah, 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 War Games, all that stuff. And now War Games is NXT, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is because their storylines are so recycled. And so for fear of, oh God, well, we've seen this before and there they go doing it. Well, they can shock you and keep you interested in a 2-week story, right? It's the one thing and the follow-up and the payoff. Like any wrestling fan of a year or more can give you that. And I feel like they're overworked so much that now they're like, this is all we can give you is just 2 to 3 weeks. So what we're going to do, we have the network. We'll just do a house show and make it a pay-per-view and call it good. They don't do pyro. They don't do anything else. So it's essentially a house show production-wise.
I think it is because of the network. I think it's because before it was, hey, we got to sell them all month long to buy this big pay-per-view. Well, now they're already paying everything a month, so now we've just got to give them content. Well, crap, they sit at home every night and they watch every night. So now we got to put out more content, and it's here, everything. Just put it on the network because they're going to watch it. We're running out of stuff to put on the damn thing.
It's unfortunate.
They need to put other wrestling promotions on there.
Well, that's a rumored upgrade that might be happening. However, to me, what they're doing with that kind of model, and I get, right, content. I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I need to refresh. What's the newest thing? Click, right? However, I feel like it dilutes all the like important stuff. Like Survivor Series to me was something you got amped up for, right? You saw the formation of teams and you invested into potentially infighting of the team or the strengthening of a team and then why that team is going up against another team. And the last couple years, I'm a big fan of like team versus team. So the Raw versus SmackDown thing is fun to me because you get to see baby faces versus baby faces and heels versus heels on each show colliding. And to me, that's kind of cool. So I've always been a fan of Raw versus SmackDown. However, like, how will this one team work? Well, as of right now, we just got the teams announced. We don't know any like infighting or strengthening of teams. So it's hard to get invested, but like I said earlier, it's 2-week story writing, right? We have the team. There's the team. Now they fight the other team. Well, shit. Now I'm not invested because you just keep on cranking more shit out. Now we're just moving on to the next thing. I was looking earlier because this week the WrestleMania travel packages and things were released. And I was looking at prices because I was like, you know what?
You were going to take me on a vacation.
I was considering it. I really was, because I was
Yeah.
like, I'm doing pretty well financially.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Yeah, you're
got,
rich.
I'm not rich, but I
If
don't have to
anybody
struggle with.
needs, if anybody has a charity that they need a big check written for, you should reach out to T-Mac on Twitter.
I wouldn't do that. I
Yes.
wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
even if I am that
Mm-hmm.
financially secure
Mm-hmm.
as you're saying, I don't care that much. So, you know.
Hey, straight from the horse's mouth, right there.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I don't really care about your thing, so please don't tell me about it.
I don't care about your thing, all right?
Yeah.
Let's just
But
make that
please
clear.
listen to the podcast, and if you
Right.
enjoy it, donate $1.
But my thing, please. Yeah, right.
Right, exactly. So, but I was looking at these travel packages, and maybe I'm just sourpuss right now, but because of how I feel going into Survivor Series, and it's not feeling special, I almost feel as if we're gonna do this with WrestleMania, not to this degree, but maybe, there might be a
Right.
pay-per-view 2 weeks before WrestleMania, and it's just gonna feel like the grandest stage of them all. Well, I can say anything about a show, right?
Right.
And it doesn't feel that special. And so I was looking at the travel packages, and it's in New York, and I've been to New York before. And so I was like, do I really want to go to a place I've never been for a show that I might not care about as I go there? And so I actually balked on it. And I was like, well, if they go to a cool location next year, maybe I'll do that. And so I passed on this year's WrestleMania, not because I couldn't afford it, because
Yeah.
it's just content. It's a locomotive train on the tracks, and they won't stop. And so it's like, well, then then I'll just catch it when it comes back around.
You go through all that to get there and get to WrestleMania, and then as soon as like that final bell rings, like they're already out there like putting stuff in crates. Like they're like, all right, hey, we got to get across town to the smaller venue to set up for Raw tomorrow.
And you're just like, I don't know. It just feels like how they're treating Survivor Series and SummerSlam and Royal Rumble, that eventually WrestleMania is going to become the same thing, where like how it is right now, currently in, 2018, there's pay-per-views every 2 months. And so it's like, yeah, maybe the next one's cooler than WrestleMania, right? Backlash is going to be better than WrestleMania. So maybe I'd rather go to that one instead, because to them, it's just content and there's no storyline.
It's a lot cheaper. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyhow,
Right.
What have you been up to?
Man, nothing. Not nothing. I mean, we went and did my son's final soccer game of this season. It doesn't start again until January for indoor. That didn't go so well. It was not a fun time for our team, right? That was one of those like, ew, this sucks, right from the beginning, right? And you're just like, man, right? Like, just never fun. So then we did that. We also watched a friend's team, friend's child play the volleyball game, their final thing. They actually won a championship in their thing, right? So that was fun to do. But other than that, man, it's just been work and wrestling, man. Working and wrestling viewership so that I can share with the adoring fans of the Spanish Announce Table my opinions.
And as you should. Hey, so let's get into the news as we keep this train a-moving, as I used that analogy earlier.
Right.
All right, so first story I've got is WWE's Monday Night Raw just got a little bit shorter, thank God.
Yeah. Boy, it could use it, huh?
Fightful.com has learned that WWE Monday Night Raw has a hard, quote, out time at 11 p.m. Eastern, as opposed to the soft end that they've enjoyed since the mid-1990s. Fightful.com is told that this will begin with next Monday's edition of Raw and will continue for the foreseeable future. This already is the case for WWE SmackDown Live on Tuesday nights. So, a thing, as we had mentioned off air, that started with we want to be the last thing you see in the Monday Night Wars between Nitro and Raw, kind of has always just began. They started that during the Monday Night Wars, and after Raw succeeded and overtook Nitro, they're just like, this is pretty cool. Gets the people, hopefully, for ratings to the next show, the Everybody Loves Chris Lee or whatever that show is, or another episode of Modern Family or whatever.
Silk Stockings.
Yeah. But I think to
That's
a
an old guy
larger
reference.
degree, yeah, Silk Stockings. That was when wrestling was awesome. And that show was hot.
Yes. It was hot.
Yes.
You're like, ooh. if I didn't
Well, I
have to
felt
go to
dirty
bed
because
right
I was like
now.
young, and I was
Right,
like,
exactly.
does Shawn Michaels really get knocked out by Owen Hart? Why is that girl taking off her underwear?
Yeah, like, ooh, whoa. Is that
Yeah,
pantyhose?
I like it. Anyhow, so
Right.
one thing that I think from the wrestling fan, as I just alluded with that kind of pseudo headline, is we already say that 3 hours is too long. And really, it was 3 hours and 15 minutes. And so let's get rid of the 15 minutes so that hopefully a segment for the 9 o'clock hour doesn't feel like filler, you know?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah, they've had enough. They have enough troubles writing for 3 hours, let alone 3 hours and 15 minutes. So anything they can shave off is fine with me.
Yeah, so I will actually be at this Monday Night Raw that has the hard out of
Yeah,
11
that's
p.m.
right.
Eastern. So
All right.
we should see how that plays out. I'm excited because I like how SmackDown ends because I know we're building up to this. Where Raw, it was like we're building up to the. It was like a soccer match, right? When they're like 10, 9, 8. The ref has added 2 more minutes. What?
What? Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I guess that's what the thing
Yeah,
is. That's
it's
how
the
Raw
sudden
kind of
death in
felt.
the Iron Man match. It's like, oh, that's
Right.
a thing?
Yeah. So yeah, let us know what you think after this coming Monday Night Raw, as it has a hard out at Tweet the Table. And if we like it, we might read it next week. What do you got for news?
What I got for news is this one is we discussed last week, I think, the Roman Reigns, which is now a couple weeks into it, but Roman Reigns obviously is a reoccurring bout of leukemia, and now he's just begun his first leukemia treatment. So I'm going to read this straight from WrestlingInc.com. Roman Reigns is said to be just starting treatment for leukemia, according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Word from WWE is that any discussions regarding a time frame for Reigns' return to the ring, are a long way off. He was recently announced for a January Comic-Con appearance in Arizona, but there's no word yet on when he will start making WWE appearances again. Yeah, leukemia is we've discussed this. It's one you can kind of, I don't know if you beat it, but you can kind of, what was the deal with Roman Reigns, where it can basically be gone and you're like, all right, cool. You can go and do everything, but surprise, it's back, right? So just it's an odd, yeah. And there's no guarantee, even though that you can, that can happen, right? Some people can succumb to it, and it's obviously unfortunate situation, but hopefully he turns this around and gets better.
Definitely. But I don't think he should be doing appearances while he's going through that.
No, you're right.
Let the damn man rest. It's not, I get it, right? There's going to be a Roman Reigns fan in Phoenix, Arizona, or Toledo, or Cincinnati, or, Jeff City, or whatever city it is, that would love to see Roman Reigns. But you know what's great after you go through chemo? Fucking laying in your own bed. Like, you don't, like, it's more important. And with how they just push everyone to a C, you can send Seth Rollins out there, or a Dean Ambrose, or hell, if it's really that important, send out John Cena, or Stone Cold Steve Austin to do the appearance instead. We should let this damn person, Roman Reigns, or Joe, the real person, rest while he's going through something so extreme like this. You don't need to be working and doing this, regardless if you're a pro wrestler or not. And especially when people are like, I'm taking pictures of you. You look like you've lost weight. I'm going to post it on, eWrestlingFightNews.org. And now I'm going to get clicks, right? So
eWrestlingFightNews.org.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Is that really a thing? We should look and see if that's really a thing.
Yeah, it's probably a thing.
Any plug is unintentional.
Yeah. So I just feel like, he's going to go through some changes physically, obviously emotionally. Let him go through that, and then he can get back on the insane grind that is a pro wrestler in WWE, and then we'll see if he holds up through there, right? So, I totally agree. I'm glad that he started so soon. Typically when, you're in middle class or lower class, you have to wait a little bit longer to get in line to jump on the chemo train. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with trains this week, but so it was good.
It's like trains, guys. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
okay.
love trains.
An adult that likes trains.
I actually
It's
do
fine.
love trains.
It's
Yeah,
a thing.
it's okay.
Right. It is okay.
Yeah,
It's 2018.
You're the train. And so I'm really happy that he was able to start so soon because of high-profiled star that he is.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he gets better, and we shall see. So it has started, and we'll, I guess, keep monitoring as the time goes on.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. All right. You got anything else? You had another news story, didn't you?
Yeah. So we'll take a break here soon, and in the second segment, we'll recap our thoughts on Crown Jewel and kind of give you maybe a match-by-match breakdown or more just general thoughts. We'll see how it plays out. But the biggest news, at least on the medical side, that came from Crown Jewel is that Triple H tore his pec. And with that, Triple H has undergone surgery, and he posted an update of his condition. Looked to be in good spirits. He posted a picture with a huge bandage on his chest. He was doing the click or NWO or whatever we're calling the hand gesture is.
Sure, yeah. That
Um,
thing.
it's rumored that this is going to be keeping him out almost until after WrestleMania. So that opens up a spot because you know how he always has to have his
Yeah.
mandatory WrestleMania match. So that might be a good blessing in disguise for someone on the roster.
That's true.
I found it interesting though that he didn't go with Dr. James Andrews, who did his quads and stuff. He went
Yeah.
with a Dr. Douglas, which was, I don't know, maybe it's because of upper body and lower body. Those doctors are different.
Maybe he owes James Andrews money.
Or maybe James Andrews is just getting too old and ain't doing as good a job as he used to. You know, people age.
Or maybe they've got to, inject the Alabama football players with some more elephant hormones, and they're just too busy.
They could be too busy. That definitely could be.
It's too busy.
But he posted that his recovery starts ... now. Hashtag game time.
Game time.
So hopefully he recovers soon. It was a weird bump because it was a bump that he's taken in 100 matches or millions of matches, you know. And it was weird that was what injured him, but sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Man, those cookies, man, they always crumble in a way you don't want them to crumble, though, you know?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they crumble in your mouth. Ooh, that tastes good.
That is true. Like the ones from Insomnia Cookie. Was it Insomnia or Insomniac Cookie?
Insomnia.
Insomnia Cookie in beautiful Westport.
Oh, yeah. It is fantastic. If you're ever in the area, you should take me, listeners.
If they were to want to sponsor the show, I think we would allow it. That's how good the cookies are. And we would put, like if you were watching the video, put a little ding, a little, website, address, maybe, right? Like a little thing, maybe even a link if it was, like on YouTube. But, they sadly do not sponsor the show yet.
We're in talks.
We can, we're talking. We are talking about it. Insomnia Cookie. Maybe we'll make something happen. But is this a good spot to take a break then, huh?
I definitely think so. So we'll come back. We'll recap Crown Jewel, and then keep this as entertaining as possible for that ass.
Right. We will come back and we'll talk a little Crown Jewel when we return to the Spanish announce table.
Fun fact: Hulk Hogan and Sting have been in the ring together at WrestleMania, Starrcade, and Bound for Glory.
The Spanish announce table.
All right, Tom. They had another special event on the WWE Network. This time, the one before was all the ladies, and this one is none of the ladies. And it was Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, maybe?
I guess so.
Was that a secret?
I think it was. I think it became a secret because of events that they had no control over, which is true. However, they had to honor their contract obligation because, in the history of WWE, the one thing that they're known for is integrity.
That's the one thing of all the things.
That is the
WWE,
hallmark of WWE. Integrity.
If they had let's draw straws of things that WWE would be known for to the average person, and you were to draw you know what I mean? Like the most common straw, it would be integrity.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So yeah, this event took place in Saudi Arabia. Very controversial because of what was happening in the news. If you don't know what happened in the news, you live under a rock. And we
Hope you
won't
didn't
go
vote.
into that. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So the show kicked off though,
Hey,
and
before we get into that, we
okay,
need to let our long-term listeners know who are not from the Kansas and Missouri area, but know what we've talked about for years here. We have to let them know that Chris Kobach it will not be the governor of Kansas.
but he could be the attorney
Oh,
general
he could be the attorney general of not of Kansas,
of
of
the
the
country.
United States, of the states that are united in America.
He'll be the one going after your weed and your immigrants.
Oh no, the weed. He's gonna go
Yeah.
after the weed, huh?
Yeah, he doesn't like that weed.
Chris
Pretty
Kobach.
awesome.
So
FYI, we
sorry,
fucking hate
it was us or you all. So you know, what I mean, it was us or everybody, right? And we were like, you know what? No, everybody's got to deal with this guy.
Mhm.
You know, not just us. Nuh-uh, you guys got to help. You got to help. You out there listening to me. Anyway, all right, back to the crown jewel. Speaking of terrible things.
Yeah, speaking of terrible things, crown jewel. So it kicked off with Hulk Hogan, and that was a controversial start to the show because it was Hulk Hogan's first return or his first appearance since his return since the whole controversial video a few years ago. Now, I like to always tell people you should be separating the person and the character, right? The person in the video, Terry Bollea, said some pretty horrible things. The character of Hulk Hogan has been a beacon of everything great in America since 1984. So shut the fuck up, right? The character Hulk Hogan was not put in a storyline that said those horrible things.
Right.
So, I always say this, if Al Pacino gets caught with child porn, you don't watch Scarface and go, man, old Scarface likes those little 4-year-old boys, doesn't he?
Right.
No, you just watch Scarface and you enjoy Scarface. So when you watch Hulk Hogan, enjoy Hulk Hogan. I'm not saying if Terry Bollea does a speaking tour like Jake Roberts, you can go out there because that's supporting the person, not the character. I'm just saying when Hulk Hogan is on your WWE television, enjoy it.
Yeah,
Shut up.
I think we start to have to somewhere. I'm not telling any individual one person where to draw a line, but at some point you have to start thinking about where a line is drawn, right? Is Hulk Hogan a racist, or did Hulk Hogan say racist things 8 years ago? Right?
Yeah,
Like
in a
now,
moment where he was pissed and going through it. I mean, there was
Can
a
we
lot of things going on.
conjecture that somebody who said racist things 8 years ago still would say racist things? Sure, they might, but sure, they also might not. You know what I mean? Like, especially given the wake of which last 8 years we're talking about. So, I mean,
Exactly.
can we just, and do we got to care about it all?
The personal lives of characters.
I mean, just, I'm never going to run into Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I'm never gonna,
So as long as he's entertaining me on my television, that's all I care about. As long as the extremes are not happening. And what I mean by extremes, as long as he's not murdering people or
he's
raping
not saying
people.
like it's not on his writer that no black people can be backstage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's just,
or that little kids need to be in his dressing room with the door locked. Like it's not that extreme. He said something stupid in a moment of stupidity.
Because here's the worst thing that could be happening, right? If you're a black person, you think, well, Hulk Hogan thinks less of me, right? Like, so fuck that guy, right? Well, yeah, of course. If that were the case, right? If Terry Bollea / Hulk Hogan thought you were less than him, well, fuck him, sure. But like, what does it actually physically cause any harm to you at all that he thinks lesser of you? No, it doesn't. So, like, why give him any power to even give a shit about it? Like, to reference it, to talk about it, to think about it, to do any of it? Because he's Hulk Hogan. He can't do anything but entertain you on TV and nothing else. Like, he should have no negative impact on your life at all.
I agree. So, going back to the show, Crown Jewel, he came out, and it was very anticlimactic. And I'll say this. It was kind of surreal to see him back on television because of all of that controversy. I personally thought, we'll probably never see him. I thought maybe he would come back and do autograph sessions at Comic-Cons and things like that. But I didn't really think we would see him on our television. But he did come back on our television. And what kind of sucked about it, and what kind of sucked about this whole show, is he was just on our television. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing remarkable that he said. He didn't mess up, which is a plus. So he didn't do the WrestleMania 30 Silverdome bullshit. But he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like,
he hit the
I'm happy to be here in the United Arab Emirates. What's everybody booing at me?
right. He played the hits and then he got out. There was no run in. There was no young talent promo exchange.
Free
where
bird.
Yeah, he just hit
Got out.
played the hits and got out, which is fine for them, but for me, meh. So foreshadowing. That's how I felt about this entire show. But that's how it started. And then from there, Tim, I'll let you take over. What happened after that?
Sure, we'll just break it down in chronological order as best as we can recall / use resources on the internet for. We had the Kickoff Show, right? And they had a little Shinsuke Nakamura, the leader of the United States of Knock America, taking
With
on
no
Rusev
citizens.
with no citizens. How much fun could this be? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we don't have to go back to an Attitude Era where it's crass and it's terse and it's pornographic, but you can still have the fun, off-the-wall, almost comic book-like characters that wrestling used to have, right? Like, the president of the United States of Knock America walking around with you know what I mean, like citizens, and you know what I mean, them like we talked about having people try to sing the national anthem of Knock America and stuff like that. Like, that was the fun of wrestling, and I just like this between these two people, especially. Like, this could have been a major storyline involving this ridiculous storyline, right? Like, it could have been great, but you know, it was otherwise
Instead,
just
it
kind
was
of like
just a match.
Yeah, it's exactly what it felt like, just a match, right?
Yep. And I feel like going back to in the first segment when I said we're just caring about content, I feel like their model, and when I say their, I mean WWE, their model is, well, we're just going to throw out so much content and just keep the wheels turning that eventually you're going to say, wow, you know, Nakamura took on Rusev. I didn't know. I have to watch that. And then you search it on the network, and then you think it was so much cooler than what it actually was a last-minute match that was just thrown together, right? Like, I could tell you that Kane took on Mankind in a match in '99 that had someone set on fire, and you go, really? Oh my God, I got to see that. But the storyline might have sucked, but you don't know that because all you're seeing is the match. And that's what I feel like they're banking on, is like, well, if we just put person A and person B together in a match, people will think it'll be cool, right?
Right.
But there's no story behind it. Like, this could have been cool, right? The Knock Americans could be refusing to recognize Rusev Day as a holiday, and that's the whole feud.
Right. They go to war.
They go to war, refusing the national holiday of Rusev Day.
Yeah.
Or on vice versa, Rusev demands that all Knock Americans observe Rusev Day, and there's going to be a match.
There's a civil war in Knock America because
of Rusev Day.
Right.
Easy as that. But what we got was, hey, that guy and that guy, you want to walk down to the ring? Okay. And that's what we got. So that's what happened.
Because, like, he could start the People's Republic of Rusev off of that, right? And they have their civil war and they fight. And then he's got his, you know what I mean? Rusev Day is the national day of, you know, the Independence Day of the...
Right. And then that's when you can use all of this enhancement talent that isn't doing anything. Ty Dillinger.
That's where they learn a personality, by the way.
Tyler Breeze.
They could stumble into a new gimmick, too, out of stuff like this, you know?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So, unfortunately, that's not what we do because that takes effort, and God knows they're overworked. And I shit on writers a lot, but they are overworked, right? They have to be writing, however, 8 to 10 hours, it seems like, of content each week, and that's fucking hard. However, I just came up with that in literally 45 seconds. I can flush that out into a storyline that was better than a kickoff match that no one will remember. Just saying.
Right.
Anyhow, what happened next? So we had the kickoff.
Then we had the Hogan thing. Then he comes and does his little dun 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 dun, right? Like, everybody, welcome to the show. And then we had the opening match, and the opening round of the World Cup tournament to determine who is the best in the world. And we had your pick, Randy Orton, taking on Rey Mysterio. And you were solid on this one. You thought Orton's winning the whole thing, and Swerve.
Well, Swerve, as far as the overall winner, 1,000,000%.
Well, of course, right.
But my logic behind picking Orton kind of checks out with who won the tournament and Shane McMahon, right? Because what I was saying was they're going with an old name that everyone knows and everyone at the crowd will recognize as either good guy or bad guy. And so I thought if
you knew Shane McMahon was an option.
Yeah, I probably would have picked him because I was just going with who's the most famous guy that most likely will be on TV each and every week that will use this. And I didn't think in my wildest dreams that Shane McMahon would be an option. So with my options, I thought, well, Randy Orton is the most popular guy here. It'll probably be him. Now, he lost his first match to Rey Mysterio, so I was fucking wrong. But I thought it was a fine match. And I liked what Randy Orton did at the end because it was establishing a little bit more of his character. Because when a bad guy loses, I never understood where they just they get pinned, and especially in a match like that where it was like a crazy roll up, and then he just goes like, well, shoot, and walks to the back.
Darn.
Bad guys don't do that. And what bad guys typically do, and if this was real, what bad guys do is find a moment of weakness from the babyface who won, celebrating, and attack him. And that's what he did. I thought that was good. Yeah, I thought it was good for if Randy Orton's going to lose, at least he's going to look, like a badass being separated from kicking the shit out of Rey Mysterio. So I like that. And I thought, Rey winning, he still needs to keep winning. So it's okay.
Mm. The other Raw, quarterfinal, whatever. Jeff Hardy and The Miz, with The Miz coming out victorious, who, by the way, I like on SmackDown where he's calling himself 2/3 of the best in the world. He should keep using that line. That's fun.
I like it. Yeah. And I think that's going to go somewhere. I think
a great shirt, right?
Yeah. And I think Miz, I don't know if maybe this is going towards, and I hope not just because he's such a better heel than babyface, but it almost feels like Shane's going heel. And maybe that first SmackDown match that he has, or SmackDown attack angle that he has, is against Miz, because Miz keeps running with this I should have been the best in the world guy.
Right.
And maybe that turns Miz babyface. But I think Miz beating Jeff Hardy, good. Jeff Hardy, why is he still on the roster?
Yeah, why is he still here?
He's bloated, slow, and repetitive. Like that spot could be used. And again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but Eric Young or Killian Dane or Ty Dillinger or more of Nakamura Americans, something like that.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Between his face paint and the damn New Day's pancakes, man, we're busting the budgets left and right over here. Yeah, let's move on here. Let's see. Then we had Bobby Lashley taking on Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins coming out on top of this one. Again, just
ho-hum, get to the next thing.
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah. I'm normally a fan of tournaments, but this one just felt flat.
It did. And as I said at the start of this segment, and I'll say it again, it also just felt content. It just felt like, hey, have you ever seen a Seth Rollins Bobby Lashley match? No. Well, here it is.
Well, here it is in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and you could have done so much. You could have had Dean Ambrose cost Seth Rollins the match. You could have had Lio Rush bombastically thinking he's helping Lashley when he actually grabs the foot of Lashley, and that's what causes Seth Rollins to win. And then there's some tension between Lio Rush and Bobby Lashley. Something. But what we got was just a straight up, oh, the good guy's better than the bad guy. Cool.
Yeah.
And move on.
Yeah. Well, and then we got Dolph Ziggler beating Kurt Angle, which was a bit of a surprise for me. I would have thought they would have had Kurt Angle at least win a match in this thing.
So we'll get into the third segment here after the break. We're going to take another break here soon and kind of share our thoughts on the week that was as far as NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. But with this match particular and what happened on Raw, I think they're going to do something big. I think these are the seeds that are being planted for something major, hopefully. Or maybe I'm giving him too much credit, of Kurt Angle, reaching rock bottom and having to pick himself back up, right? Because he loses to Dolph Ziggler. Then he has to tap out to his own finisher from Drew McIntyre. I mean, let's just say next week he loses another match to Elias or, Baron Corbin or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've seen a 3-match losing streak. What does the Olympic gold medalist, how does he recover? How does he find the will within? I think maybe that's where we're going. So I was okay if that's hopefully where we go. Going back to this match here, he loses, right? It's okay with me.
All right. Well. So then we got a tag team match, and we had the Bar taking on the New Day. And the New Day were not able to overcome the odds, as it were. And the Bar still Smackdown tag team champions.
And Survivor Series, we're going to do the New Day and Usos representing the tag teams versus whoever Raw will pick for their tag teams.
Mm-hmm.
And New Day Usos, with all their history against each other and how captivating they are, separately, putting them together, I think is a home run. However, if we're not going to do the New Day one heel turn thing, because they've all stated like we don't want to be broke up like that, and that's fine, whatever, cool. At least with the next upcoming draft, whenever that is, force something new, because you can do the separation of, for example, Matt Hardy and Jeff Hardy, right? They were separated because Jeff went to SmackDown, Matt went on Raw, and they didn't hate each other, and they did a backstage segment when a pay-per-view was together, and they had a fun little thing, and then they just kept going on. You could do that here, right? Big E goes to Raw, Xavier Woods and Kofi stays on SmackDown.
Right.
They're still the New Day, air quotes. But we're doing something new because, like you said, pancakes and cereal and bright colors and books or whatever it is. It's like, I don't know. This well is dry. I definitely don't want to see him as a tag team champs. So let's just, I don't know. What's the next chapter? Because I've already read this book. I'm done with it.
And I don't know what it is, because if you don't have them fight each other, I don't know what it is that's not.
Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You can do that, right? You could say the veteran Kofi Kingston, right? Have it this way. There's a draft. Before the draft, the New Day states, in a promo backstage, like, it would be cool to be Intercontinental Champion. Yeah, Big E. Big E says, I used to be Intercontinental Champion. It was a great feeling. Maybe I want that again, right? And then they go in, so they establish that in the draft, they're all individuals, or you can draft them all together. And then you have Stephanie McMahon say, I want to take a blow to Shane's product, and I'm splitting up the New Day. So I'm only drafting Big E to Monday Night Raw. Well, now he's a sympathetic babyface. He misses his friends. He's a loner on Raw. He gets beat up by the heels. Right. Well, he gets beat up by the heels. He has no one to rely on because he's by himself, because he was with the New Day for so long.
Anybody they made fun of before.
Right. Now they're beating him up, and now he's by himself. And then we can build that storyline to, I don't know, him taking the title off of Bobby Lashley, right? Bobby Lashley was your Intercontinental Champion. Big E beats him for the title. Right there. Look at that. That took me 90 seconds. But you fucks are going to keep selling me pancakes.
Bugs. Yeah, pancakes. All right, then we had a semifinal match in the World Cup, The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. And we got The Miz in this one.
Yeah. And we can fast forward. So then also Dolph Ziggler beats Seth Rollins.
Right.
And as the tournament was, finalizing, and those were your two finalists, I thought that was interesting because they were both heels.
Right. You're right.
But they were heels that had history. Obviously, Dolph Ziggler put his career on the line for the Intercontinental Championship. So it's not as if these two have never faced each other in a match or anything like that. However, it just felt like, well, one, I've already seen this a million times. And two, they're both heels. So if I'm treating this as a shoot. I don't give a shit who wins because they both suck.
Yeah, I don't like either of these guys. They're both assholes.
Right. So I don't know. It kind of felt like you were already in a corner, and then let's just get right into the finals match. Miz gets hurt.
Yeah.
And Shane McMahon, who I think it was kind of cool, was like, no, we're not ending it that way. Right. And I was like, yeah, okay. And he puts himself in the match. And even then I'm like, all right, let's see where this goes. But that he just wins in, what was it, 2 minutes or less over Dolph Ziggler. Huh?
Yeah.
And Baron
Yeah,
Corbin.
that was weird.
Baron Corbin, interject yourself, right? You're the commissioner. You say, no, that commissioner's not in this match. Hit him with his thing, and then you could,
well,
and then
or Dolph wins, and then like everybody's just like, yeah, best in the world, whatever. You beat Shane McMahon in an impromptu finals. You know what I mean? Like, you're not the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I just think the easiest thing you could have done, which would have been the most captivating, is let's add some stakes to the Survivor Series match. Let's plant the seeds here at Crown Jewel. Shane McMahon interjects himself on behalf of Miz, who's injured. So it's Shane McMahon and Dolph Ziggler in a crazy match, which that'll catch your attention. But Baron Corbin says, like, I'm the better of the two commissioners. He hits him with his black hole sun, or whatever the fuck it's called, his finishing maneuver. Well, now Shane has beef with the Raw commissioner, Baron Corbin, and you have SmackDown-led Shane McMahon team versus Raw-led Baron Corbin team, authority figures that are, making people go to the other shows to attack each other. And you have a power struggle between commissioner and GM on two separate shows. Wow, that's cool. Nope. We're just going to put old Team SmackDown with Miz and Rey Mysterio versus Hodgepodge Raw and yada, yada, yada. Right? No fucking story.
I think
could have been planted right here.
I think Baron Corbin calls it the "you should have worn a helmet." That's
his finisher?
Right.
I don't think that's what it's called.
You don't think that's it? Oh my God, he hit him with the "you should have worn a helmet."
I don't think that's it.
That's
no,
not
I
it.
don't. Yeah.
All right. So we also had AJ Styles and Samoa Joe, with AJ Styles winning because, again, as you said, this is a glorified house show. So.
Yeah, and it was a fine match, right? Like, if I was there, I would have said, like, that was cool. Fine. Thumbs up.
Fine.
Glad I saw it.
That was fine. Yeah.
I'm glad I saw it personally. That's how I would have felt. Glad I saw that personally. Hey, I can go on as a pro wrestling fan saying that I saw AJ Styles and Samoa Joe wrestle each other. That's cool.
Yeah.
But for a Crown Jewel special event, fuck off.
Yeah. And then we had Brock Lesnar winning the vacant Universal Championship because Braun Strowman just is not a thing, I guess, anymore.
Unfortunately not. Now, I know that when we rebooted Spanish Announce Table 2.0, I didn't want to go into the Dave Meltzer reports and this is a blah, 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 blah. So I'll keep this to a minimum. But the decision to put the title back on Brock Lesnar paid off the following weekend, or the following UFC, because Daniel Cormier beats Derek Lewis in what everyone kind of thought. I mean, everyone has a puncher's chance, and then anything can ever happen. Anything can happen. However, you could bet your house payment on Daniel Cormier and be pretty secure. And what did Daniel Cormier say? Hey, Brock Lesnar, bring your Universal title because I think I want to be that champion too. Well, there you go. You just got your promotion mentioned on a rival, as far as viewers go, promotion for free, and it's free advertisement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it pays off if you're looking at that. Now let's go a little bit in the bubble. What the fuck? It was a squash match of just finishers. I get it. Braun Strowman kicked out of 62 F5s. Okay, he's a man that needs, all the finishers in the world to be beat. Great. The match didn't even last longer than it takes to heat up a hot pocket.
But he still got beat again by Brock Lesnar.
Again. Yeah. And this one was, I mean, you literally couldn't heat up
easier
hot
for Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. You couldn't heat up hot pockets in the time that match lasted.
Yeah. Brock Lesnar can beat him up quicker every time now.
Yeah.
Next time it'll take him 30 seconds.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right.
It was just dumb.
And then, the match of the century. The Brothers of Destruction. D-Generation X. What'd you think of that?
I thought the best. So I won't try to make fun of Triple H for ripping his pec that much. I mean, it's kind of funny. But look, in a entertainment where you're putting your body through a car wreck each and every time, and especially at all four of those guys' ages, shit's bound to happen. So, okay, right? Like, that happens.
Right.
I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. I empathize with you. Hey, and also, you gained my respect in the 2000s going through both of those quads and finishing your matches. You finished this one as well. You might be one of the toughest fucking guys to ever be a pro wrestler, right? You're proving this each and every time you get hurt 45 seconds into a match and keep finishing it, right? So good job, right? Here you go. Cool. Everything else sucked. So let's just put that aside. Kane, your fucking mask falls off.
Yeah.
Your fucking mask falls off. What in the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
You bloated bath sud. At least keep your fucking mask on.
Mm-hmm.
How in 2018 is the most broke down pro wrestler going, Undertaker, look the best of those four fucking people? So
yeah,
Shawn Michaels, I get it. You're old and my back and them. Suck it up a little bit. Like the whole, hey, Triple H, we're too old for this. Yeah, well, that's what we're all fucking saying to your face. Stop it. And you ruined your legacy.
That, yeah.
You ruined your legacy because Shawn Michaels cut maybe the greatest podcast promo of all time on Sam Roberts' podcast when Sam Roberts was like, you want to come back? And you go find it on YouTube or Sam Roberts' feed or however you want to find it. But Shawn Michaels essentially said, like, the character that was retired by Undertaker and that started with the Rockers is the same one. And that was such a beautiful piece of art that I just don't want to come back against fill in the blank name. Right.
Right.
But now you do this shit show D- match. And now we have to, like, that was the retirement match against Undertaker at WrestleMania. Now he did a tag team match, but who the fuck cares about that? Like, now we have to do that. And if we're going to have to do that, you should have put 1,000,000% into this match. Instead, it was a hodgepodge of fucking grab me here, put me in the ring here. Kane's fucking mask falls off. I can't get over that. How does Kane's fucking mask fall off?
Well,
God damn.
when you're busy being a mayor, you kind of forget some little things. You forgot it needs the extra pin in the back to keep it,
And then fucking Shawn Michaels does his backflip off the top rope to the outside. And because Kane's fucking mask falls off and Undertaker is just like, he can take it, Shawn Michaels goes fucking face first into the mat and goddamn almost kills himself. And we're just like, it's these old timers. What? And let's even just go a little bit into Raw. None of it was mentioned. Like, what was the fallout of DX and Brothers of Destruction?
Nobody gives a shit.
I get that Triple H is hurt, and so now we gotta, reshuffle the cards.
Kane needs a new mask because he stepped on it when it fell off.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels doesn't come out and say, like, we're the best ever, and then the brothers beat him up because he's by himself. The brothers don't ask for a rematch. Like, nothing. So it was all for naught because you guys want for a fucking cash grab. And Shawn Michaels, who had, like I said, that greatest promo and made me just appreciate the shit out of his career. Now I have to do like the Ric Flair asterisks where I'm like, well, but he did one more after and Kane's mask fell off.
There was no, Kane's mask fell off.
Yeah. And that's probably the worst match of the year. Now I'm not going to.
Who we demasked a long time ago, and we know what he looks like.
Yeah.
And then he took it off several times. Otherwise, was still wearing it for some reason, and it fell off.
Well, and not even that the mask fell off, because I'm okay with that. It's that he went from long hair to buzz cut to long hair.
Right, because there's the hair
There-
with the mask. Right.
That's the part that's the dumbest. Because if
Right.
you go back to
If
WCW,
it was just a mask, but it's
Yeah.
a wig and a mask.
right? Because if you go back to WCW, there were times where Vader's mask
Right.
fell off, but it was, you got into the match of how physical
Sure.
it was, and the mask
Right.
falls off. Okay, we can buy into that. But that this character had
Now you're
long
wearing a
black
Halloween
hair.
costume.
Yeah, this character had long black hair, an orange buzz cut, and a long black hair. Man, you look fucking stupid.
And you're
Like,
a
you
mayor.
look so fucking
Like,
dumb.
other people are gonna go sit in a council meeting, and they're gonna have watched that, and they're gonna think about this moron. This dork was out there in flame unitard.
Yeah, with
just
two left feet, just and the least
wrestling a bunch
important
of
of
old
the four.
dudes. Like, you
Yeah.
think he's old? He was wrestling like his older brothers out there. Just
Well, and if you think he was important, he wasn't. He was the least important part of the four people. It wasn't even
Yeah,
needed.
the
It wasn't like
older guys,
just a
right? Yeah.
marquee. God. It was so recapping Crown Jewel, it was a D-. It was
Well, yeah, here,
God-
I've got some tweet the tables we should read too, because
Okay.
you should use those. Hashtag tweet the table on Twitter. Use hashtag tweet the table, and we'll read some of the best right here. And let's start with I gotta see the names first. Doesn't work out. We gotta fire this producer. At Theo75 says, "That's not HBK. That looks like Christopher Daniels after a week-long bender who just had enough time to shower/dress up and team up with Triple H to take on the Brothers of Destruction." Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, look like Christopher Daniels on a bender.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. That's a good one. Let's see what else we got. At B_double_D says, "HBK is my favorite wrestler of all time. Hands down. But fuck." Hashtag tweet. Oh, he says, seriously. Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, it just felt sad.
It felt like a cash grab. It felt
sad.
like it felt icky. It felt dirty. It felt not genuine. It felt forced. I didn't like any of it.
It almost felt like Kane's mask fell off.
Well, it did.
Yeah. And then one more at Katie First Lady says, "Yeah, Evolution was the better show by far. Crown Jewel really had no interest, and Shane is best in the world. Really?" Hashtag tweet the table. Yeah, it's just kind of like it ended with that. We were like, really? That's the solution, you guys? Like, this was the thing? This was your idea for best in the world?
Well, yeah, just your three marquee moments was giving your marquee title to a guy who doesn't give a shit and won't be around.
Mm-hmm.
A fraudulent tournament made even more dumb by saying best in the world is an executive who doesn't wrestle. And then your main event is four people who don't wrestle full time and made it look horrible. Yeah. It was just the three marquee things that match or that event will be known for were so god awful. It could be the worst event of the year.
And then to make it all worse, Kane's mask fell off. I mean, really. So,
and to make it all worse, it was worse than Evolution, in which Evolution was billed as, "Isn't this fun? We're all doing something together."
right.
That's what you were worse than.
You're right.
Just people going, "This is fun. Look at us."
All right. We're going to take a break so Kane has time to get his mask back on and strap back up while we
Well, I want to say one more thing. I will say, and we can make this quick. Is Vince McMahon making headway in Saudi Arabia? Because Renee Young did call the action in person. I really thought she would be in Connecticut calling it like via satellite. No, she was sitting right next to Cole and
that's
Corey
weird
Graves.
that they let that be a thing.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it is cool. It's weird though that that line wasn't drawn. That's odd. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyhow, that was cool.
All right.
But yeah, we'll take a break.
We'll take a break and we'll talk about some of the fallout of that. Well, not really, because they didn't really discuss the fallout, but we'll talk about what happened the next evening on Raw and then SmackDown the next day when we come back to the Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, Mick Foley was the first guy in WWE history to have a different entrance and exit theme.
The Spanish Announce Table.
Right, wrestling happened. Tom?
Wrestling happened. And what did you think?
Did you watch the wrestling, Tom?
I did.
Yeah,
I
I
caught
watched the
both.
wrestling. Mm-hmm.
So we were about to talk more off air about our thoughts, but we figured to share it with you because that's what our podcast is about. So what I was about to say off air and what I'll start now as we start this segment is for me, anytime that I see Raw from overseas in any country that's not North America, and I include Canada. Canada, they still treat kind of like North America,
Right.
lower 48 states, you know. Um,
Right.
but when they do these international shows, it just feels like a tribute to the troops or a
Yes.
Saturday night main event. And outside of what I think is becoming now a tradition, there's always one title change, right? So last year it was on Smackdown when Jinder Mahal lost his title to AJ Styles. This year it was Seth Rollins having to do a 2-on-1 handicap match against AOP, which AOP?
Yeah,
Who's been on
right.
that? Who's been on that bandwagon
That was
since
fun.
day one? That was me.
Yeah.
But and it was fun, right? And so you got now these heels that could hopefully rejuvenate the Raw tag team picture. So as I was mentioning, other than it seems like the traditional one title has to change hands overseas, it kind of feels like a filler show. Like no one get hurt. Okay, we're all overseas. No one get hurt.
I
Let's
guess got
just get
jet lag.
right. Yeah, I know everyone's jet lagged, so let's all be sane here. Let's all be calm. Let's all be courteous. Let's just get back to Florida, or fill in the blank. Let's just get back there. So let's just get to what we need to do here, so we can get back there, and then we can ramp up the stories and all that. Because that's what both shows felt like. It felt like kind of duds, kind of throwaways. Now I know there was a lot of who's going to captain this team and who's going to captain that team, but that kind of also fell flat. And so I don't know. I'm starting to feel anytime I see, as I mentioned, overseas show, I'm like, well, if I have plans,
I
I
don't
might do
have to
that,
watch
and
that,
then
right?
yeah, I'll catch the results or anything that goes viral after it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I felt overall, really, as well. Um, and like the build up to the Survivor Series Raw versus SmackDown stuff is falling flat for me also because there's just no reason. Why do these people with all these storylines that don't like each other suddenly care about the Raw versus SmackDown thing? Like it just doesn't.
Well, if there were stakes added to the matches, I would get it a little bit more. I do understand the whole inherent competition of like, no, this is where everyone that's an A+ player comes, not your
Yeah.
show.
I
So
guess like
I
if they
might,
got title matches or something, you know what I mean? Like the people that survived for the team
yeah,
if you
and that's what I'm saying.
won, right?
Add some stakes to it,
Yeah.
but I do inherently understand the like, hey, I might hate you, but I know that you're better than
Yeah.
them, and so
And
I get that part.
for what it's worth, they've been playing the Daniel Bryan Miz stuff off well
Yeah,
in that regard. Like where they're just like, all right, this is weird. Stop. I don't want to like you. You know,
yeah.
like that's fun stuff, right?
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? Because you would say like I just stated,
Right.
we're better than them. Now I don't
Yeah.
like you, but let's just begrudgingly do this so that we can kick their ass
Yeah.
because we have to prove that this is where the A+ players
A
are.
little peek behind the curtains of the Spanish announce table. Tom and I hate each other's guts. I mean, like
Yeah,
we only do
that's
this for the money, you know.
yeah, the
So you need
money
to
and because now we can do it at our homes.
the
There's a
money.
reason why
Yeah.
we left
Right.
that studio. Too many
The
fistfights.
right, and then so now we got the money, the fame, you know, all that comes with that, the power,
And
um,
separation.
and the separation from each other. Right, we had to put thousands of miles of cable between us. Thousands. You know what I mean? Let me tell you how much distance Kansas City is here. But yeah, anyway, let's keep moving on here. What else we got that happened that we want to talk about?
Well, I was going to state, I've been pretty negative about Crown Jewel, and typically,
Mhm.
T-Max 3Ps was a thing at one time, and I'm not going to go back to that because it's a little bit more difficult to do.
Right.
However, I do want to say there was a great continuation of a new match that was added the previous week, and that's the promos between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch.
Yeah, huh?
Both
Oh,
both
so great.
knocked them out of the park. Ronda
Yes.
Rousey with the "You might be the man, but I'm the baddest bitch."
Mm-hmm.
Fucking love that. And then
Well, she's
Becky
just like, I was
Lynch.
bred for this. Like, while you're out here doing all this crap, like, I was being fucking horsewhipped into this, Like, oh.
Well, and so Becky Lynch, who is the best wrestler currently, like this month, these last 30 days, she is the best wrestler, man
Oh,
or
yeah.
woman,
Right.
in WWE, maybe in the world.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention too much to the Cody Rhodes storylines right now, but
Sure.
you know what I'm saying. Becky Lynch is fucking killing it on all levels. But it was pretty cool. Did you see the WWE.com exclusive interview Becky Lynch did in response to Ronda Rousey?
I might have. I don't. It's not
So
ringing a bell
she
right
was
now.
like, so she retorted and said, "Hey, you might have been waking up with your mom giving you an arm bar and you were bred for this.
Yeah.
Well, my mom didn't support this. So I had to go out, buy my own, leave my home in comfort, sleep on the mats in wrestling schools
Right.
to get to where I am." And she's like, "Yeah, I, might have took some odd jobs," which Rhonda fucking killed her on, right? Well, you didn't really love this. You were doing this and this and
Right.
this.
Right.
But Becky was like, "Well, I had to do this and this and this till I can get to this point here. So, you might have
Yeah.
been bred for this and coddled, but I was out here grinding." And I love that. And then if you're paying attention on Twitter, their back and forths are fucking amazing. The last thing I saw was Rhonda either had a fan mock up or maybe she had a, uh, person she pays mock up a Survivor Series Ronda versus Becky promotional poster, and it was kind of funny. I mean, nothing was too funny about it, but the pictures of Becky
Right.
weren't the best. And Ronda was like, "Look at your forehead here," and Becky responds and says, "At Travis Brown MMA, who is Ronda Rousey's husband,
Right.
at Travis Brown MMA, I think you need to get your wife. She seems drunk."
Yeah.
Like paraphrasing,
Yeah.
but like it's just
Becky
been
Lynch
great on Twitter.
is killing it in every opportunity. Like, every time that red light comes on, like, she's doing something cooler than she did before. The Twitter is great. I mean,
Yeah, she's
every
going after
time.
Seth Rollins
Oh, and
about the
she's
whole
like,
the man thing.
and
Yeah.
she's got wit and she's got great lines. And I mean, like, she's captivating that audience. Like, they would have, like, started a riot at her command.
Yeah.
The other night when she was talking. And I mean, it was great when she was like, "Who the hell are you to tell the champ anything?" Like,
Yeah. I love
oh, man,
See,
she's great.
I hope because of storylines importance and because Ronda Rousey, I think, is, the highest paid female, and with this whole hashtag Me Too, hashtag Women's Revolution thing, I hope they main event the damn thing. I hope they main event Survivor Series. I hope it's Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch in your main event. I think it's more important than any thrown together Raw versus SmackDown. I think it's more important than any U.S. title versus Intercontinental title or the tag team. That's the match right now for me. If you were to say, like, what is the storyline that keeps you invested? I wish I could say it was Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. That seems like a slow burn, which I think the payoff is going to be awesome. But consistently week in, week out, right now, going into Survivor Series, it's Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey because both of them are killing it. It's incredible.
I agree with that, but that, like, you could have said that about the Charlotte Becky Lynch thing, and they didn't do that.
Well, yeah, the common denominator right now is Becky Lynch is hitting home runs every single time.
But this one is Ronda, so they might.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
This one,
right?
Yeah, because the only reason Charlotte and Becky didn't main event is because Ronda and Nikki Bella have more casual viewers, and with the content just throw everything at you. They're trying to catch that casual viewer, so it makes sense why that was the main event. Well, guess what? Now we got the casual viewer demo check marked with Ronda Rousey, but then we've got the hardcore fans and the best thing in WWE with Becky Lynch. So hopefully that is the main event. I hope so, at least.
Yeah, and then the Drifter has drifted into face territory full on now, man. So he's Elias right up in there. What do you think of it?
Well, I like that he's still doing the hey, shut your mouth. I'm trying to
Yeah.
play a song.
He's still
It's not as
being the same guy.
yeah, he's not going full like I'm wearing um a Yankees jersey in New York. He's not doing that.
Right.
So at least he's staying true to the would you shut up? I'm trying to play a song when said wrestler tries to interrupt him.
Right.
But I still wish he was doing the like, why do I have to be in this town? I think the crowd would
Yeah.
still be like, yeah, this town sucks.
Yeah, you're right. We do suck, right? We
Yeah.
are
Now,
Toledo. I mean, really, we suck.
yeah. Now I hope, if they're gonna go face that, he doesn't make the Seattle Sonics comment again in whatever town he's in. But
Yeah.
I still think you could do like
God, I
St.
forgot
Louis.
about
Why
that.
am I here?
God, I forgot about that when they just
They did not like
they
that.
wanted to beat him up. They
Wanted to beat
really
everyone up. That was the fire starter for a riot that was just we hate that the Sonics aren't here anymore.
like
I mean,
you
they
assholes.
booed Leo
Like you don't
Rush.
think we know? Like, come on, man. Like, it hurts enough. Like, why are you doing this to us?
Yeah, it
Oh,
was
that was
great.
so fun. All right, let's see. Anything else? What else was cool?
Well, the Dean
Tamina
Ambrose.
turned, right? That wasn't cool, but
No, not at all. That went over like a turd in a punch bowl.
uh-huh.
But I did think that the Dean Ambrose coming out after Seth Rollins loses and still like fucking him up, it
Yeah.
adds. But again, it feels like another like, hey, we've got something cool for Royal Rumble. It's November, so why don't we just do one more of these? Just burnt, whatever. It
Right.
still
Beat each other
keeps
up
the story
a couple
going, but
times.
yeah,
Right. We got Bobby Lashley beating up on the Rainbow Warrior.
the Rainbow Warrior.
Yeah, Finn Balor.
Oh yeah, because he says Balor clubs for everyone.
Right. Well, he's got rainbows on him all the time now.
Oh, that's cool. But what a just that guy, you know?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
there it is.
Comes in, they're like, hey, this guy's amazing. Universal title. Rip. Okay, you know what? We were wrong. Just like that
That's what it
fast.
feels. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it feels like as far as his presentation. It was he is
Gosh.
a demon. He can, call upon this spirit and beat Bray Wyatt or AJ Styles. And they're like, okay, cool. Let's Oh, he's just a guy. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Hey, the mixed match challenge. Okay, I get it. B&B, that's cool because Bailey's awesome and Bailey loves Balor and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Okay, so what's next? Oh, he's just gonna walk out. Oh, he just lost to Baron
What?
Corbin. Oh, he just
Yeah.
lost to Bobby Lashley. Oh, so he's just a guy.
Oh, he just lost to Bobby Lashley. Oh, and Drew McIntyre's just going to beat him up also just because. Like,
Yeah. What are we
like,
doing?
like, why not? Like, oh, here's a little tune-up before my match. I'll just throw this guy around.
Yeah. And hey, little guy, I'm gonna throw you out of the ring too.
You demon.
I
Boo.
thought from Raw, AOP winning the titles was really cool because again, I've been day one since they went to the main roster an AOP fan, especially with little Rockstar Spud or Drake Maverick, whatever the fuck you call him. I love him. Pipsqueak, chicken shit heel manager, love it. I think they look the part. I think they're money. I like that they're violent. I like violence. It's awesome. It's cool. Hopefully they fucking push this to something cool, like beat up people backstage because they're fucking big and they're mad and they got testosterone and they want to fucking hurt someone. Hopefully they do that.
Beat
Who
somebody
knows?
up.
They'll probably lose to fucking B&B or Best
Yeah.
Friend or B Team or whatever. But anyhow, I thought AOP winning was cool. I did think though it was pretty remarkable that Drew McIntyre, not that he beat Kurt Angle because old man versus young lion or old lion versus young lion thing, I get, but that he beat him with an ankle lock, like the angle or the angle lock.
Yeah, they seem
That
to be
was like kind of like, wow.
they seem to be
Wow.
buying in on Drew McIntyre. It's like what they envisioned his first run was going to be, when they had him as the chosen one. Like,
I agree.
It's hitting more now. And yeah, he's a more complete character now, too. Like, he really is bulked up even more and just looks like just a sadistic badass.
It's interesting, though, because, before going into Crown Jewel, he was monster hunting, remember? And he was going after Braun Strowman. And now, hey, look, you beat Kurt Angle with an angle lock, and that's pretty cool. But it seems like, so wait a minute, are you beating up Braun, or are we picking on Kurt Angle? Like, let's get some direction, because
Yeah.
I love it when everyone's kind of beating up on each other, because that makes sense because you guys are a traveling circus. However, I need something to sink my teeth in with him. Like, it seems cool. Like you said, he looks like a sadistic bastard. He looks like he could beat everyone up on the roster. But I need, for me, a little bit direction. Like, who are we going after? And then is
Yeah,
Dolph
what's your purpose now?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Like, are you still monster hunting? Because why would you wrestle Kurt
Right.
Angle?
Is
You
Dolph
know?
still carrying your bags around? What's the deal here?
Yeah, and I get why he wrestled Kurt Angle, because the whole Baron Corbin, but for Braun to beat Kurt the way he did, that feels like to me, well, that's a storyline, right? Because Kurt Angle needs to beat that guy up because he embarrassed him.
Right. Drew did that.
Drew, yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. You know what else we got was yet another hug it out with the Usos and the New Day, and like, hey man, we wouldn't, we don't like you, but we'll battle with you. Like, wow, man, they really are getting stale with this whole New Day versus somebody thing. Like, this
Like I
has been
said,
done.
Yeah, everything has been done. I cannot think. I honestly, if you were to say like book the New Day in a tag storyline, I can't think of one. They
Yeah,
even
it's
did
not
the whole
good.
thing with Sanity, where it was like 3-on-3. Like that was the last thing I felt they could have done, because Sanity was a polar opposite of what they are. But that was a hit and miss and move on. I don't know what they can do.
Which, speak of Sanity, how fun is Nikki Cross? I mean, just and place erupted for her, and I just loved it. I mean, she comes out and she's like, "I'll play with you," like just, oh gosh, she's so fun.
Yeah, but I feel so bad being negative, because I want to like things, and I like the Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
But if I don't pay attention to NXT, if I'm only a Raw SmackDown viewer, I just saw a crazy little weird girl that might look like she smells get beat up. So who the fuck cares?
Right. Yeah. And for no reason, with people that like we hadn't seen until recently again, it's just weird. Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do the match with Becky Lynch, have it
Build
have
to
Ronda,
it.
or no, not even that. What you could have easily done is, during the match, Ronda Rousey's music hits, that distracts Becky. Nikki Cross gets a roll up over Becky. Becky's pissed at Ronda for distracting her, but you get Nikki Cross that has a win. So then after Survivor Series, you could do a throwaway match on SmackDown that main events with Nikki Cross versus Becky Lynch for the title. And it makes sense because Nikki Cross has a win over her, right? But instead it was like, nah, Becky Lynch got to beat this little bitch up.
Right.
And it's like, no, and that reaction was awesome, right? How cool was it? That sounded like fucking not Triple H at the Garden, but it sounded fucking cool.
Right.
It sounded
like, oh hell yeah.
It sounded like Sami Zayn in Montreal when Bret Hart introduced him, right? So, you know who she could beat up? One of the Iconics.
Yeah.
The Iconics don't need to fucking win a thing.
Right.
The Iconics can cut down the town and say how blah 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 and blah blah
anybody from this part of the world, right? And then just...
and you guys, and you could have said, easy. Here's what you could do. The Iconics could have ended their promo with, and you can't sit at the table with us. And then Nikki Cross goes, I want to sit at the table with you, and runs out and beats one of them.
Well, so Insanity is going to have the same problem that they had with the Wyatt family here, is that there's no direction to it. That there's no... Eric Young needs to be, like, he's crazy, I get it, like, and he's erratic, but there still needs to be a purpose. There needs to be a method to the madness, right? Like, they're supposed to be having an ulterior motive behind their actions. You know what I mean? Like, and so there's none of that. So we get this, right? We just get her, like, popping up, like you said, and then just losing to the champ, and then, like, oh, so she's here now. That was the point of that, right? Like, yeah, it's just odd. You're right.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think Sanity falls the victim to, just like the Wyatts, although the Wyatts did have a few moments of, eye-catching, memorable TV, but the biggest victim of their storytelling is you can't turn it up.
Right.
And they always have to be the foil, right? So it always has to be. I'm trying to think. It always has to be Rusev overcomes the crazy guy, right? Every storyline it feels like that Sanity will ever be in is the Bray Wyatt John Cena storyline,
Right.
where John Cena
Well,
just
yeah.
overcame it, and it's like, well, they lose all the fucking time,
Yeah.
and they can't do anything crazy, so it's all gonna be just riddles and bullshit.
Well, and this is where I think, Nikki Cross is almost better off without that group, you know?
Well, I loved, like, I was nervous, not nervous, but I was like, well, this is the last time I'll probably see Nikki Cross when Sanity went up to the main roster and she
Right.
stayed down. But then she sunk her teeth in that awesome, like, I know who did the attack. And that just made it like, all right, the stinky, smelly girl knows some fucking shit. I guess I got to talk to her because I want to find out, but she might bite me. You know, like,
Yeah, she literally might bite me.
but
Right.
that was cool. And so, yeah, go back to
That's a
NXT.
fun character, and that's where we were talking about earlier, like with the Knock America and all that stuff. Like, that's a reoccurring theme to that character that, like, everybody interacts with, and they'll be like, man, you know who you got to ask? And they'll be like,
Exactly.
no. And be like, yeah, but you got to bring her some ramen noodles and some matches. And what else was she asking for? I forget. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you just like, right? And some Q-tips. And then she said she'll tell you what she saw the other day in the parking lot. And you're like, all right, God damn it, where am I going to find Q-tips? It's fucking 2 a.m, right? Like,
Yeah.
that was the fun stuff. And they don't do this anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and you could just have her randomly pop up anywhere, right? So let's just say Shane McMahon says, actually, I'm not doing this co-main event or these co-captains for the
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown team. I have a captain in mind, and it's the three of them, right? So it's Daniel Bryan, Shane, and Miz, and then Shane says that, and he leaves, and then you get Daniel Bryan and Miz staring at each other like I'm the better man, and then Nikki Cross goes, "He told me who's going to be the captain," and they go, "What?" And he goes, "He told me," and then she just leaves,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, and then just like you said, Daniel Bryan's like, "Well, I got to find out," and Miz is like, "Yeah, go find out for us." He's like, "No, you got to come with me." He's like, "I don't want to bring the ramen noodles or whatever it is," you know what I mean? And then you
Right.
just, but then she's relevant, and it's not just, hey, Nikki Cross lost to Naomi,
Right.
where she did a crazy move on the apron. The fuck
Yeah.
cares, man?
Yeah. No. And so NXT was good with that. Like when they had the whole whodunit thing, like that she was
Yeah,
kind of that reoccurring character. So like we need a little bit more of that on the main rosters, I think. That would be
definitely.
nice to have, yeah.
Speaking of NXT, I wanted to say another big positive for me was the debut match, at least on TV, for Matt Riddle. I have been a big Matt Riddle fan. I love the bro. I love Super Bros. I love all of the high surfer gimmick that he
Mm-hmm.
has, but he has the body of a fucking, gladiator. I'm all in on a Matt Riddle thing. I hope don't even do anything with I would want one storyline with him overcoming the Undisputed Era, right? And then from there, I want him to go straight to Brock Lesnar. That's all I want.
Right.
Just straight to Brock Lesnar. And then have him beat Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman goes, "Hey, you're the new guy. Why don't you join with me?" And goes, "Nope, fuck off. I'm the
Nope.
bro. You're not
Right.
bro enough for me." And then you're pushing, because I think he's young. I think he looks the part. He does have some questionable tattoos that I don't know how you're gonna cover up that because he has got some like mushrooms on him. So I don't know how you're gonna do that. But man, outside of that, who cares?
He's a
Push
Mario fan.
that guy. Let's stop with the slow burn of a Velveteen Dream, which I think Velveteen Dream's doing great too. I'm not saying like Velveteen Dream's doing anything bad, but with Matt Riddle, for me, I don't know. I'm all in. Push him to the moon. Like,
All in
get him out of
already,
here.
huh?
Yeah. NXT's the second best show on television behind SmackDown, but just, Roman Reigns' spot needs to be filled. He may never come back, and say what you want and tweet the table and say how stupid or crazy I am, but that spot could be filled right now, I think, by the bro himself, Matt Riddle. Love
I
it.
like that.
Love it.
I like
I
that.
know he's only done one match, but I love it.
All right, let's see. Mysterio beat Andrade Cien Almas, who decided to show up again. We haven't seen him in a
And
while.
guys, okay, I'm gonna make my criticisms quick. Rey Mysterio versus another Mexican guy. That's what we're doing every fucking time with him.
Every time.
It's Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero, which is sick and awesome, right? But then it's Rey Mysterio versus Chavo, and then it's Rey Mysterio versus Alberto Del Rio, and now it's Rey Mysterio versus Cien, and it's like, can he go away from the other Mexican guy in any storyline he does?
Not. Right.
Again, we've talked about it when it was hypothetical that he would be coming back, but let's have Rey Mysterio versus Lio Rush main eventing next week's 205 Live. Wouldn't that be fucking cool?
It would make 205 Live something cool. But
I would watch 205 Live if you say the man of the hour, Lashley's favorite guy, Lio Rush versus 619, the king of the luchadors, the godfather of 205 Live. Right there. Again, old lion, new lion. And there you go. Instead, we get Rey Mysterio fucking just hanging out with Jeff Hardy's fucking coked out ass, allegedly. You know, God dang, guys.
You know what else I liked was in the whole Miz Daniel Bryan thing, and they're picking the team and how well they played that out. Was Samoa Joe just looked like a barely leashed, deranged, you know what I mean, like gun for hire in that whole situation too. And he's like, oh, you know what, like, yeah, that's great, but I got this guy, and he was just like, I'm gonna kill him. Who? All right, next, right? Like, I killed him, I'm gonna kill you later, but let's go kill these guys first. Let's do it.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, Samoa Joe, I think it was a misfire. I get that the whole AJ Styles has been the champ now for a year, and that's cool, and that adds like some stability to what the title means and, you know, credibility, yada, yada, yada. But I think it should have ended with Joe. I think Joe should be the champion right now. And just like you say, that gun, like that hired gun, but almost like the prize fighter thing that Kevin Owens did, but without the comedy, where it's like, I'm only fighting at pay-per-views because if I fought you at SmackDown, you wouldn't make it to the pay-per-view.
Right.
You know, like, I am that dangerous to this roster that you should only be having me at special events, because when I do wrestle you, it's going to be a special event that you're going to spend the night in the hospital. Like, make him like, goddamn.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, man. Anything else that sticks out to you before we get the hell out of here? I don't know.
Like I said, loved Matt Riddle. Absolutely think my favorite storyline is Becky and Ronda. Follow that on Twitter. It's so much fun to just look at from that point of view.
Yeah, it's super fun.
It makes Twitter more fun. Hopefully I get this writer job with WWE, because then I'll still be doing this podcast and telling you, like, these guys fucking suck.
Hey. Yeah, place your bets now.
I wouldn't even say that. I would just be like, guys, every time I said they sucked, they suck way worse.
And then we could wind up realizing some of these WrestleMania T-Mac feuds from the Cinco Preguntas. Like, this could be a thing, right? This could be an actual thing.
Fandango needs to be repackaged. Dead guy.
Dead guy. I mean, the Undertaker's got to retire, right? So there you are going, like, I've got a hell of an idea, believe it or not. Listen to me now. Hear me out, right?
It involves a dildo and Fandango.
And Fondedgo. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say Fondedgo? Listen to this. Right?
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Awesome.
All right.
That'd be great.
I like it. I like this a lot. All right, well then let's get out of here. We're gonna leave and just, you know, we'll take a week, think about what we've done, come back next week for some more Spanish Announce Table.
Fun fact, both TNA tag title reigns for the Hardy Boys ended with them vacating the titles.
The Spanish Announce Table.